Hello everybody, thank you so much for being here. Today we are finally gonna talk about my trigger list. I bring this up frequently in my videos, but I never actually delve into what it is or how I make it or how I use it, so we're gonna do that today. I'm not very good with this type of video, so please forgive me if I'm not good at explaining or if I'm not communicating very well. My anxiety's been worse than usual lately, and I'm having a rough time, and I'm doing my best here, but I've really been wanting to share this with you for a while now, and I knew if I didn't just do it, it was never gonna happen because I would always find a reason to not. So I want to start out by saying this trigger list, this is my decorated side of my trigger list. My trigger list, this is not my idea. I learned about this from 𝓁𝑜𝓋𝑒. 𝓁𝑜𝓋𝑒. Yeah, I learned about it from her channel, and I'm gonna link to the video below where I learned about it. But the video is like a 2 to 3 hour live playback. So for anyone who doesn't have time for that, I am going to talk about my trigger list, how I make it, how I use it in a much shorter time. Okay, so a trigger list is a list of words that trigger ideas and thoughts that I might want to write about in my journal. I divided up what I write about most frequently into 9 life categories. You don't have to have 9 categories. You can have 1 category, 3 categories, you could have a dozen categories. Whatever works for you. 9 is what works for me. So each category has a heading. It's what each category is about. So my very first category is Mark, my husband. So when I write about Mark, here are some of the things that I might write about regarding him. When I sit down to write in my journal, I scan this list and I go, oh, appointments. He has that appointment on December 13th we have to go to. I'll write about that. Let's talk about his symptoms. Today he was dizzy. So I would go in my journal and write that he was dizzy if that's something I felt like I needed to write about. I don't have to write about it just because it triggers a thought. It's if it's worth writing about. So when I sit down and write, when I'm done writing about everything that pops in my head, and if I still want to write more, I scan this list and I go appointments, symptoms, that's what I want to write about. Next, Woodrow, that's my dog. So when I write about him, I write about his potty routine, toys and play, and the nicknames we call him, and those are the 3 things I want to write about today. So we write about he wanted to go potty earlier than usual. I write about how we played a game of lazy bones before getting up in the morning, and how I started calling him Woodson. So I just scan my list, and that's 5 things I'm going to write about in my journal that I wouldn't have wrote about before scanning this list. So you kind of get the idea of what I'm talking about with my trigger list. My next category is art and journaling. These are the things I like to write about when it comes to art and journaling. I like to write about ideas that come to my mind, my wish list for these types of items, my desk and organization. I can scan my social media category right here and go, oh yeah, I wanted to write about this flip through that I saw, or one that I want to record. There's just, it's just here to help me remember what to write about that I might forget otherwise. Like without this trigger list, I might have forgotten to write about a weird email I got from a scam company trying to hire me in, even though I'm not even job searching anymore. My next category is health and wellness. This really needs to be updated, and that's what we're gonna do next. There's a few things I need to write about more often and a few things I don't write about anymore. Fun and leisure needs to be updated. Family and friends, you know, people ebb and flow out of your life. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's some people I write about more frequently now than these people. And then very last is my miscellaneous category. So I'm going to update this. This has been more than a year now since I originally made this. I need to update some of the things in my categories and perhaps even update my categories. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing yet. I do know that I'm going to try to stick to 9 categories if I can, because I like how that looks on a page. So next, I'm going to make a new trigger list since my other one is old and it's needing to be updated. So I'm going to start by kind of folding my paper roughly into thirds so I don't have to measure anything. Measuring's for suckers. There's a line for those. And then I want to fold it into thirds the other way. And now, like, if you have 6 categories, you want to fold your paper different or measure your paper different, whatever you're doing. If you're doing 2 categories, you want to do it differently. So, you know, think about what you're doing and plan accordingly. But if you're doing 9 like me, this is the lazy man's way to do 9. Alright, next I am going to line this up here on my cutting board here. I say cutting board, cutting mat here. And I'm going to do my best to draw some straightish lines to divvy up these categories. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It does not have to be perfect. Nothing I do is perfect. And I don't want anyone to think that it is. So I'm just going to use a Sharpie. I'm not going to pencil this first because it's not going to be perfect, and it's not really for show outside of just making this video with you guys. It's just something that I keep in my nerd bag with my journal, and it's there to use when I need it. So I'm going a little more minimalistic this time with my design. Last time I did some colors. This time I'm using just my black Sharpie. I just want to keep it simple and make it look decent. And when we're done, we're done. Did I not? Oh, I didn't pinch it. I did not pinch it to make my little fold line for where I need to make my next Sharpie line. Here we are, fixed that. This will just go straight here. Ooh, got a little frisky there. That's what I'm talking about. I don't do shit perfectly. Stuck to my fingers. All right, so back to my trigger list. I'm going to keep my very first categories as Mark and Woodrow. So I think I'm also going to keep this next category as art and journaling as well. Let me go journaling first this time though. Next, it's going to be basically the same thing, but instead of social media, I'm going to call this next box online. Next is my job. We'll call it my job instead of work. We'll keep this one health and wellness. And next we'll go fun and leisure, or we'll just go leisure. Let's just go leisure. Did I spell that right? Whatever, doesn't matter. This one, instead of calling it family and friends, I'm going to call it social. And we'll just keep the last one as miscellaneous. Do I want to spell that out again? Ugh, no. There, miscellaneous. All right, so these are my categories. Now your categories might be different. You might have like, I don't know, a category for the gym, category for where you shop, or what you bought, or bills, or I don't know. Like, the possibilities are freaking endless, guys, so don't let my little list make you feel like your little list has to look anything like this. Like, no, they don't even have to be on the same planet. So for everything else, I'm just gonna write it in plain black pen, and I might change this up a little bit as I go along. Looking at it, a lot of it's gonna stay the same. Guys, I think from here on out in this part of the video, I'm just going to speed this up and let you watch me finish this up, because there's really not much more to say. I am just updating what is in my categories, and just rewriting the things I want to keep and adding the things I want to add. And when I'm done, I'm just going to glue it right over the old one and keep my little background I made. Or not, who knows. Let's go ahead and start adding everything in the categories. For some reason in the social category, I put a dash by every different trigger. That's gonna drive me insane, so I'm gonna go back and put a dash by every trigger in every category now. Alright guys, this is my old trigger list, this is my new one. I am gonna go ahead and glue. We'll glue and see what happens. The worst that happens is it looks shitty, and that's alright. And hopefully this new trigger list will last me at least as long as my old trigger list did before I had to update it. I feel like it's been maybe a year or so. Well, I guess it would be right after I saw 𝓁𝑜𝓋𝑒's video. So whenever she uploaded her video, I started using a trigger list shortly after then. So I don't know how long that's been, but when I'm editing this video, I could put in that information for any of you guys that are curious. Ugh, glue fingers. All right. So let's see if I can glue this on straight. I think I'm doing okay. It's not perfect, but that should be like the tagline for this channel. The Nerd Journals. It's not perfect. It's enough. So I've got a little extra glue squeezing out here. Let me get rid of that. And I'm going to use my ruler to try to smooth this out a little. And also to kind of like scour. Is scour the word? I'm gonna scour this in half. No, that's probably not the word. I'm just gonna fold it again and make sure it's folded real well. Oh, I don't even need to. Like, the old paper's just... It's actually pretty. It's pretty junky and it's falling apart, but that's okay. So I have my new trigger list. It's covering up my old trigger list, which I no longer need. I still have this cool little background that I decorated. And I'm gonna put this right back where it was. Put it in this little, what do you call these things? Page protectors, I guess. Binder page protectors. Just keep it in here to keep it safe, because, you know, it's just a piece of paper that I have kicking around for so long. I do keep it a little safe. And yeah, there we are. We made a trigger page together. I finally talked about my trigger list, and now none of you guys have to ask me anymore what I'm talking about when I say my trigger list. Thank you so much for watching if you watched it all the way through. I really appreciate it. My next video coming up should be a November flip through, but I may have that confused, and I will see you again in the next video either way. Bye!